So here's what I'm thinking about today. I'm thinking about hip extension and how we can get better hip extension so that when you go running, for example, your hip doesn't pull your pelvis into this overextended position repeatedly, therefore causing you to experience some sort of a, I don't know, leg spasm or something like that. I think somebody told me that happened to them recently. And that happens because of that repeated motion, and eventually you create this instability at one of the segments in the lumbar spine or the low back, and your body kind of follows the laws of physics, as Shirley Sarman said, and you're always going to take the path of least resistance, and eventually that becomes your habitus, and your nervous system gets used to that. And soft tissues can't buffer that, or they can buffer it, but only for so many load cycles, and eventually something fails. You bulge a disc, or your muscle strain, and kind of clamp down on everything. So here's how we're going to solve the problem. All right, we're going to go after the joint capsule. We're going to go after the soft tissue, kind of the muscle dynamics aspect of it, kind of the trigger point and whatnot, and the spasming, and we're going to go after the sliding surfaces. Okay, so sliding surfaces. How do we get after that? Well, we go shear. Remember, we want to just almost act like you're trying to just push your skin back and forth. Okay, so grab something like a foam roller. Let me grab it here. All right, get on that thing. Foam roller here, and you're gonna get on it. And we're going after the quad, or actually we're gonna go a little bit to the side. We're gonna go after the TFL. So kind of this part of the leg up here, just below that greater trochanter, coming down like this. And we're gonna create some shear just by going back and forth. And shear used to be a technical term used by physicists, but it got taken over and it's used in many other aspects of language. So right now I'm just shearing back and forth, trying to loosen up the skin, the articulations of the skin and the underlying fascia, and then the underlying fascia and the superficial fascia of the muscle group. Just trying to get some movement, some movement inputs into that area, so my brain has a better understanding of where things are relative to one another in space. Okay, so that's going to open up a little bit of improved mobility for you for hip extension. Next thing you're going to do is work on the joint capsule. Okay, actually let's work on the muscle dynamic component. Next thing we're going to do is work on the muscle dynamics, and that is we're going to smash some trigger points. Okay, let me grab this foam roller. All right, so get yourself something like rumble roller here, and you're going to get into that same mass of TFL. And actually what we'll do here is I'm going to put my knee up against the wall, and I'm going to get my hip, my TFL on that rumble roller. You could use a peanut here, you could use a battle star, you could use something. A foam roller doesn't work as well because it's, let's start pain washing, because it's a little soft, but it might work as well. And what we're just doing here is creating some deep pressure, because I got a lot of weight into that foam roller or into that rumble roller, and now we're doing this pressure wave technique that's going to allow me to get into those deeper layers and get some things moving around closer to those trigger points. And what I can do to work on the trigger points as well is, there's two ways to solve that problem. You know, you loosen up the fascia around the myofascial trigger point, and that feeds slack to the system, and your brain no longer registers it as a problem, you know, and kind of relaxes that intrafusal muscle fiber. Or you can also do things like contract relax, so that reciprocal inhibition. So what we'll do is we'll lock that thing in, go into internal rotation, and then I'm going to lock it in as tight as I can, put as much pressure as I can into that TFL, and then I'm going to do some contract relax. So I take a deep breath in, I squeeze my butt, and I push my foot into the wall, push my knee out, 3, 2, 1, and then relax. Kind of let all the tension out of the system, and make sure that you're relaxing, and you'll notice that whatever it is that you're pushing into will sink a little bit deeper, and your body will recognize that is no longer as much of a threat. Okay, so let's do that again. Big breath, hold, squeeze, and push. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then relax. So what I'm doing is I'm squeezing my butt, and that puts my spine in a neutral position so that I'm not mobilizing in this overextended position, which is it's a broken position that we're trying to get rid of anyway. If you try and mobilize in this position, you're probably not going to get much benefit from it, because I mean, this is the position that doesn't put the good type of tension in the system, right? You're putting tension kind of on your joint surfaces, and instead of the soft tissues, the muscular component, and using the joint capsule. Okay, so we got this locked in. The direction that I'm pushing is I'm pushing my foot into the wall, and I'm pushing my knee kind of obliquely out at a 45-degree angle into the floor, and I'm squeezing my butt. So I got this aligned, and I got the pressure going on so that I'm activating, hopefully, this lateral compartment, putting all that tension in, activating that Golgi tendon organ, and then hopefully it responds and lets go as I release, and I feel a little bit better, feel a little bit more normal, so it shouldn't hurt when you push into tissue like that. Another way I like to go after it is keep the leg locked in like that, and then you can do the pressure wave with your body, and that way you're getting a lot more force into that soft tissue, and that works really well. Okay, follow that up. You can do, get yourself up against the wall, throw in a little bit of this couch. Okay, so get a good position here, squeeze my butt, try and pull myself up. Don't get overextended in the lumbar spine. Don't let that pelvis tilt forward. Oh man, it's so tempting. But you'll really feel a lot of tension there. You can play around with that. Contract, relax, bring the arm overhead, side bend to opposite side. Rotate, same side, and extend. So you're kind of pulling from the top down. So think about it as a system that has to slide through like a little pulley there. And we're trying to pull it up this way as we have the bottom part tacked down. Typically, what we'll do is, if we're kind of flossing like this and oscillating like that, then we're pulling from the bottom and pulling the tissue in that direction. But you can do it in both directions. So, and it's good to do it in both directions because the system needs to be able to move each way a little bit, okay, so for it to function well. So we do some contract relax there, and then we want to check the joint capsule so we can get our band. So I'm just going to demonstrate on the opposite side this time, and put some tension on there, get myself set up. Oh yeah. So get yourself in a position here, butt squeezed tight, got the band pulling my joint to the front part of the capsule. So another thing Shirley Sarman talks about often is the instantaneous center of rotation of the joint, meaning that part of the joint shouldn't fluctuate too much. It should stay kind of in that center of the acetabulum, and if it's off, what will happen, instead of getting that normal kind of roll, glide action or spin, your joint will roll, and then it'll kind of butt up against the whatever part of the acetabulum it's hitting. Okay, so we're getting this position, get the band to pull it in the right position, open up the front of that capsule, butt squeeze, that'll open it even more. We can do some oscillating here, we can do some oscillating, rotating toward that side where the knee is down, do some contract relax, squeeze my butt, pull my knee in the ground, 1, 2, 3, 4, relax. We're gonna translate forward, keep the glute turned on, do a couple rounds of that, a couple sets of that. You can tie in the psoas again, side bending away, rotate toward, extend, pulling it that way. Anything you can do, but mainly trying to get to the point where you can oscillate, and I could push down, but I really want to focus on pulling up if I want to get that TFL. So keeping my butt squeezed and trying to get myself in a more upright, athletic position. Okay, so that's what we're thinking about today. Trying to get better hip extension, better running, better whatever it is that you need for improving explosive hip power. Okay, we'll see you guys next time.